everybody for watching PancreasNoWork Old Warhammer Art Went Hard. Well, I presume it is because, I don't know, that thumbnail looks fucking kick-ass. And PancreasNoWork says so, so it probably is so. I don't know, I'm relatively new to Warhammer. I'm into this, maybe 2 years now. Something around that. And yeah, this PancreasNoWork, it's gonna be awesome, and we're gonna have a talk about art, something I really don't care much about, but I'm sure it will be great either way. So let's go.
I know this isn't exactly a breathtaking, groundbreaking video or anything, but not everything needs to be innovative, you know?
This is kick-ass art. This is, I really like this art piece in specifically. I already knew this one, and I got into fantasy before I got to the 40k.
And my videos are already slideshows anyways. Might as well make one.
Well, one of my favorite YouTubers of all time, Perun, is a fucking PowerPoint YouTuber, so I think it'll be fine.
Specifically talking about what's being shown on screen, yeah? So with that in mind, how about a nice cozy video?
Let's
Sit back,
go.
relax, and come with me on a journey where I talk about some of the Warhammer art that I think goes unfathomably, unreasonably, undeniably hard.
This has so many incredibly talented people draw about Warhammer. It's ridiculous.
Spoiler alert, there's just about nothing from the past 10 years that's gonna be on here.
Aww.
Recent Warhammer art is cool, but the classics are classic for a reason, yeah? And no,
Yeah.
before you go ahead and make the admittedly understandable joke, I'm not already running out of content. I've got over a dozen do-or-don'ts left, and
No, there's too much shit you can make. There's new do-or-don't coming out, as I'm recording this, later this evening. Unfortunately, later this evening means when I'm already asleep, so we're doing this one instead.
and that's ignoring Total War. I am, however, being lazy. First off, I'm going with the big one.
Fair enough, I'm a reaction channel.
The artwork people look at and go, oh yeah, this is 40k. Or should I say 30k, because this is none other than the Emperor versus Horus on the Bridge of the Vengeful Spirit at the climax of the Horus Heresy.
This
Now,
is kick-ass
the
art.
first rendition of this scene, believe it or not. It's actually this. But
This looks stupid.
the thing is, I think this piece of art is awful. The Emperor
Yes.
looks fine, but Horus looks like he just stuck his cock in fire
He looks like a weirdly shaped orc.
station chili. But the later iteration most people know is just a masterpiece.
Yes.
The Emperor's armor design, perfection. Horus's armor design, somehow even better perfection. Almost everything about this
That's
picture is
perfect, too.
fantastic. Admittedly, Sanguinius is looking kinda goofy, like he just greened out or something instead of
Well, he's dead, so fair enough.
killed, but it ain't that bad. Big floating eye. I love
Big
that
floating
eye.
eye.
It's so menacing and unnecessarily evil. I wish the Horus Heresy was still limited to some lore blurbs in this image, because everything in my mind is cooler than what GW has come up with. It's like how horror movies are scariest when they don't show you the monster, because what your mind comes up with is scarier than anything they can show you. The
I
Horus
guess.
Heresy was at its best when it was barely being explained except by kick-ass art pieces like this. Moving swiftly on to my comfort zone of Warhammer factions, we've got some old Eldar art. I love old
Well,
Eldar art
this
more than
looks
I can
cool.
put into words, because it has literally everything I love about the Eldar within it. Let's look at
Okay.
the first example. I like to call this piece Skittles Marches to War. Taking all of that color, just look at that line of fire
Colorful.
dragons. There's an Imperial Guard armor division melting immediately off screen at this image. And the swooping
Proudly.
hawks flying above while the dire Avenger poses heroically. It's like a mixture.
Where is that, a city in the background? Oh my, that's... I don't know, there's something in the background. If it's a city, that's really cool.
Napoleonic-era armies marching to war in bright colors crossed with weaponized seizures. And it's representative of the tabletop, since all Eldar armies are like this. All the different aspects have different bright colors on themselves, showing who they are in their battlefield role. This piece both brings that across and shows just why the Eldar are the best. The next one is stellar for different reasons, because it brings across the Eldar as these fey, mystical beings that are almost unknowable. It's got
This looks insanely good. I need to look into old Warhammer art more.
bright backgrounds that are simultaneously dark and foreboding. The warrior in front is clearly humanoid, but the proportions are wrong, inhuman. Their faces are completely unreadable. The classic Space Marine helmet brings across the image of an angry man, but this helmet prevents you from getting any kind of clue as to what the Eldar are thinking.
That presents an angry ghost,
I
I'd
mean,
say.
admittedly, he's probably thinking about killing you, but is he angry about
Probably.
it? Is he sad?
He
What thoughts lie
probably
behind that
doesn't care.
incredibly tall hat of his? It's
Indifference. Incredible indifference.
this vibe that newer Eldar art is missing. Newer Eldar art captures them being space elves no problem, but they don't necessarily look fey. The new Eldar are going to be arrogant at me and cast some solid spells, but this guy is going to burn down every third house in my village because the spirits demand it, and that's kick-ass.
Maybe.
But you know what kicks even more ass than that?
Mhm.
Whatever the hell is going on here.
Da bist du thumbnail. This is Titan and Gargant. Do I need to say more?
I am so glad that there's two giant mechs up front, because otherwise I would have no idea where to start with this mess. Let's look at that Imperial Titan. It's massive, bright
Big.
red, has huge fucking laser cannons firing at everything and nothing. Great. Right next to it is an orc pile of garbage that's got 50 different weapons and cartoon rockets on it, which are, funnily enough, firing more accurately than the Imperial Titan. And everywhere else?
Maybe a little bit like it.
I have no idea, dude, but it looks like the coolest
stuff.
shit ever. And the towering hives in the background really add that 40k touch. They're not just fighting in an empty field, they're fighting atop a planet-wide city that's probably 10,000 years old or more. And you can probably guess one of the themes of the old artwork I like based on this and the last one, but I just love the massively colorful art pieces of old Warhammer. This one has...
That's actually one of those things I don't like that much. Except in this one is kick-ass and it fits perfectly.
Has damn near every single color of the rainbow in it. Blues and purples in the background, bright yellows and reds for the titans and vehicles. You've got greens and dark black shadows, and overall, this kind of art remembers that Warhammer can be colorful without losing its vibe. Sure, it's the grimdark future, everything sucks and everyone hates each other, but at least it doesn't look like an FPS from the early 2010s. But lest you accuse me of simply being attracted to shiny colors, look at this masterpiece of Eldar art. It's completely black and white, but still amazing.
I'm a sucker for black and white art, and this is good. It's good.
Although I think this is two pieces put together, but it's a single image on Google, so I'm counting it as one. Once again, the
Fair
Eldar
enough.
are more fey than anything else in modern Warhammer artwork. There is some Greek influence among the Eldar, especially with the helm on the dude on the right, but also something that makes them distinctly non-human. The towering spires of the craft roll that juts out into space are very elven in style. The craft roll being depicted is definitely an alien structure, having an almost organic feel to it, which is a nice touch, since Wraithbone always struck me as something that's organic in nature, at least somewhat. Every time I look at old Eldar art like this, the arrogant flame in my chest burns ever brighter, and reminds me that I am correct in sipping over these goddamn elves in space.
Maybe you
But no
are.
video on Warhammer art can fail to include the Crimson Fists, portrayed in none other than
I love this.
Rogue Trader itself. It's got more color than none, but it's still pretty toned down in appearance. But who cares? This artwork doesn't need bright color to be amazing. The Crimson Fist's default state of being may be fighting a last stand, but by the Emperor, do they look good doing it?
Yes.
Explosions and fires all over the place, some big thing off in the background stomping its way towards the fist to probably get obliterated by these badass space marines. One of them ripped the head off an orc and is throwing it like a stick grenade. I'm
Just
getting
40k
muscle
things.
mass just by looking at this picture. But ladies and gentlemen, I cannot in good heart discuss old Warhammer art without going to the original Warhammer art.
Okay.
The original Warhammer setting, as it were. And to start off the journey into fantasy,
Oh,
let's
fantasy art. Fantasy art is even fucking better than 40k. It looks so good.
start with what I think is the peak of design when it comes to chaos. Look at this
Yeah, fantasy chaos, by the way, it just looks better than 40k.
man. Look at him, Chaos Space Marines, and despair, because you will never be as cool as this
No.
man, and he's just standing there. Just standing there atop a mountain of corpses that he presumably built body by body, and behind him the sky
He most
itself is
definitely
burning with
did.
the power of chaos. Just being within 5 feet of him warrants a tetanus shot. Look at all those literally goddamned spikes. And of course there's skulls everywhere. Skulls on the spear stuck in the ground, skulls on the banners, metal skull on his kneecap, and I haven't even discussed his weapons. He has 4 of them. A massive lightning-covered sword, an axe that could probably saw through reality itself, and 2 daggers strapped to his waist. Well, I say they're daggers. That's probably a long sword for people like you and me. And everything I just said applies to this next piece as well.
This is also an art piece I already knew and really like.
There's even more Chaos Warriors. Props to this guy especially. Look how excited he is to be here.
He is very
Right off
happy.
screen of this artwork, the single coolest thing you've ever seen in your life is either happening right now or has just happened. You know that joke about 40k where you need 3 hours to explain the bare minimum? Well, this is the exact opposite. Show someone this image and that's all the explaining you need to figure out what these guys are about. But you know me, I'm no chaos simp. No, I am firmly on the side of Sigmar's Empire of Man, and this image is the end-all be-all of Imperial artwork.
This
Towering
looks
in the
so
background is
good.
some eldritch horror beyond all comprehension, and on the left of this painting is an army of regular, plain humans who could not give less of a shit about it.
This is Dude. This is presumably Plaguebearer, about to cut Dude in half.
They say all that stuff about the guard holding the line, but they don't do shit. All they do is die so the Space Marines can come and save the day and have it be extra tragic when they barely make it in time. But the average Empire State troop? He looks at the demons of chaos, such as this great unclean one in the background, and just says square up. And then he wins. With nothing but faith, steel, and gunpowder does the Empire State Troop win the day, and this art piece shows that in spectacular
This shit here, this could be from Made in Abyss. If you know what I mean, it's fucking amazing.
fashion. And oh ho ho, is that who I think it is? Flying on a mighty griffin, wielding a weapon that glows with a
Prince and Emperor.
holy golden light while regal plumes wave in the wind behind him? Oh, I think that is none other than Karl Franz. You know what? Screw it. Here's a collage of Karl Franz art. Is some of it newer and
Yes.
from Total Warhammer? Yeah, so I am breaking the rules a bit, but great art
Who
is great art,
cares?
and there's some older classics to be found here. Just phenomenal, that Karl Franz. I'd bear his children given the chance. Have fun with whatever
So
mental image I
would
just put in your
I.
head. This next little category is also breaking the rules a bit because it contains newer artwork as well. From Sigmar even.
Oh,
but it
no.
goes harder
Age of Sigmar also goes super hard.
than almost all other Warhammer artwork. And this category is literally all pieces of art Nagash is involved in. This
Well,
dude has
Nagash,
yet
fair
to be in a
enough.
single bad piece of artwork. Him
Yes.
looking like an old goofy lich.
Well, it's Nagash. If you manage to portray Nagash badly, you're not portraying Nagash.
Bam, he looks awesome.
Yes.
Him when he was still a human from not Egypt. Boom, he's looking great.
Looks
Him
awesome.
towering over a damned great unclean one and an entire army of Nurgle demons. I almost understand the appeal of NFTs now with this thing. I wish I could say I owned this. There's only a few guarantees in life. Grass grows, the sun shines, the scout hurts people, and artwork of Nagash is almost completely unrivaled. Next banger piece, some high elves. I like elves. My next video is on the high elves. This
Yes.
is no secret. And
I'm gonna be watching it probably
while
tomorrow.
I don't know if this is Tyrion or not,
And it will probably come out like 2 days after this one.
I do know that this man's jawline is immaculate. Gilliman must have taken some notes from this guy. You've got what I presume to be some white lines of Krace back there, and the rest of the elves are this sea of ephemeral beings that are almost made of starlight. That was the most elven thing I've said on this channel by
Yes.
far. But though fantasy is objectively better than 40k, I can't say that it has the best piece of Warhammer artwork ever created.
Okay.
No. That goes to a depiction of how Space Marines used to look in the earliest days of Warhammer.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the piece of Warhammer artwork that goes harder than anything else ever conceived. Look at that. This is the coolest picture ever. You got the background, a whole bunch of pipes.
I disagree. This is really cool. There are better things.
Some machinery that you can only imagine the function of. Bottom of the picture, some dude's skull is straight up flaming like Ghost Rider. He's very dead, but he's cooler in death than any of us will ever be in life. But even
Yes.
he is nothing compared to the single most 80s character to ever exist. The Space Marine that's front and center of the artwork. Look at this beautiful bastard. Oh my god. His pose asserts pure power. His kneecap is coming up to his goddamn mouth because he is ready to spring into action at any moment as he climbs over the mountain of God knows what he's standing on. His weapon pointed directly towards the viewer because he knows the first rule of gun safety is to have fun. His left arm, who knows what this pose is, but I'm intimidated just looking at it. His helmet, a beaky, the best kind of helmet. It even has a shark mouth painted on it. Absolutely
Yes.
spectacular. And
Amazing.
beyond all else, the thing that would make this picture great, even if you took everything else away from it, is the fact that all of these Space Marines are Ultramarines wearing cool guy sunglasses that are built into their helmets. These aren't the Adeptus Astartes, the warrior monks of the God Emperor of mankind. These are Space Marines, power-armored
Yes.
cops in space here to tell you why drugs are bad and Tom Cruise is awesome. Absolutely spectacular. And, yeah, here's a nice interim video talking about artwork. Don't
Yes.
really have much to add to it beyond this artwork is cool. I wish
This
GW
artwork
could
is
make
cool.
more stuff like it. Their old art just had a certain feel to it newer art can't match. Maybe the newer stuff
Well, I guess I like both.
is more consistent or smooth or whatever artistic term you want to throw at it, but the old stuff just hits different. Thank you as always to my wonderful channel members. This video,
Check 'em out.
I cannot think of a stupid end joke to end on, so I'll just leave it at thanks. Truly. If you'd like to support the channel, one, didn't you? Fear not, viewer, because there's no way I'd forget about Macrag's
Check him out, LBC by yourself out, what the fuck?